There is no doubt that this is a nightmare for anybody. Imagine what it must feel like to walk into a courtroom knowing that the whole system is rigged against you. And then after you suffer through day 2 of jury selection of this bogus, star chamber, kangaroo court, corrupt process, you get in your car and you take the motorcade to Harlem. And organically, a crowd is there cheering for you, supporting you, and loving you. It must be astounding to be in Trump's brain right now, to go through what he's going through. Can you imagine what it feels like to sit there in a courtroom helpless with this monstrous, dictatorial, tyrannical judge who's on a power trip? He's getting his jollies because he gets to boss around the 45th president of the United States that he hates. The judge with a daughter who's made millions off of Trump hatred. A judge who has contributed to Democrats. An attorney general and a district attorney who've campaigned on getting him. And now they think they got him because they took a misdemeanor whose statute of limitations has expired and turned it into a felony in order to sustain some stupid bookkeeping crime of an alleged hush money payment. It's a non-disclosure agreement with a porn star, while he ought to be out on the campaign trail. What we are witnessing in America is unthinkable. And every time I come into the studio and I point all that out, I'm always amazed that my phones don't blow up, because typically the phone lines reflect the passion of the American people. I've been at this a long time. My first talk radio show was in 1978. A long time ago. And I look at those little blinking lights and I know when people are fired up about something. I mean, I feel like the kid in the wilderness, the lone voice saying, do you know how bad this is? What they're doing to him? There's Joe Biden standing in an empty room in Scranton yesterday, mumbling and bumbling and slurring his words and rambling about Trump calling our soldiers suckers and losers. A totally debunked accusation. There's not one shred of proof to that claim that Trump ever called our servicemen and women suckers and losers. But that's all Biden's got. He's an angry, old man who could very well lose in November. And he can't believe it because his opponent ought to be in jail as far as he's concerned, because he's trying to put his opponent in jail. He wants to incarcerate his political opponent who's going to beat him. And I am just blown away by what we're witnessing in this country. So, hey, I give you the number, 800-655-MIKE. I think most people who are listening to this show agree with the sentiment. May God help Trump and get him out of this mess. I believe in the power of prayer. You got to be praying for this guy. Here's what it sounded like in Harlem yesterday. This is crazy. This is wild. A Republican figure like Donald Trump met with this kind of response in Harlem, New York, outside a bodega.
I love you, Trump. I love you, Trump. We love Trump. I love you, Trump. We love 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 Trump. We love.
Now, the media isn't reporting on this. The mainstream media, they can't touch this with a 100-foot pole because that was organic. That's real. It wasn't a staged speech like Grandpa Joe had in Scranton where nobody showed up. This was an organic, enthusiastic, real-world experience. He's the people's president.